Everyone talks about date nights and couples goals. But tell me this, if life turned violent right now, could you trust each other to survive? Defensive training as a couple isn't about guns. It's about communication, it's about trust, and it's about being able to protect the most important person in your world. I'm Rian Coetzee, and I am talking to Claire Dallas and Gerard van der Westhuizen, two of the senior instructors on the loan operator course, and they happen to be a couple in real life. Stick around. Well, I'm back with Claire and Gerard, and tonight we're talking about couples, training as couples, training together as couples. And Gerard and Claire, it just so happens that you guys are not only senior instructors on the loan operator course, you are for real a couple. Hence, I consider you experts on this subject matter.
Yeah, experts is quite a broad term, but yes, thank you, Rian. Thank you for having us.
So,
Yeah,
as I understand it, Claire, you guys actually met on the range.
we did indeed. Our journey started on the range. We were both selected as instructors, and long story. I mean, that's another video we can go through. But here we are. We together, happy.
So this is
And
almost like
apparently
a gunfighter love story. I kind of like it. So
yeah, I
let's,
think it would make a good movie.
It will.
It might very well, yes. And I trust it will make an interesting video because I think it's important that people invest this or investigate this the option of training together as couples, because we've spoken about this before with other videos, how often you find that only the man in the relationship trains because the lady says no, he's going to take care of me, and or the guy thinks it's his place. The safety of his family and his loved ones, that's his indaba. And the reality for me is that if both the partners in a relationship are trained and work together on a range on a regular basis, I think that just increases your survival odds quite extensively. I don't know if you guys will agree with that statement.
Yeah, Rian, no, definitely. It is quite a, if I can put it this way, an old school way of thinking that just say the man is the protector. In today's day and age, it has to be both partners, if not also the kids as well. It has to go through the training so that everyone is aware and is capable of self-defense. Because what happens if, say, the male or the husband, something happens to him? What happens to the rest of the family?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
From my side, I mean, I'm alone 90% of the time with the kids. He goes to work. If we were on a farm, he would be out farming and I'm at home. So for me, I think it's very, very important for a woman to be able to do something and not have to depend on the men to protect them.
I think it's absolutely crucial. So on that point, what would you say are some of the biggest advantages couples have when they train together, both skills and mindset? Okay, let's start with you.
Okay, so I think obviously effective communication is the first thing. Learning to communicate as a couple on a range or in a tactical environment, that'll come home with you. It'll help you at home as well. And, you need to learn to be effective under pressure. You need to learn to be clear, precise about what you need in a tactical environment. And, that will obviously help you at home. The more you train together, the better you see each other's body language and you start to know what the person needs to do and is going to do. And that builds trust. That's a bit of a non-verbal communication that starts to happen. So I think, that's the first thing, and you can add to that.
Yeah, and then obviously, together with verbal and non-verbal communication, when you train together, you can take that home and work on a coordinated response. action plans. What do you do in certain scenarios, in certain cases, so that it's not a fresh surprise when something happens? At least then you've trained certain scenarios and you know how to react as a family, as a couple, to that scenario or to that self-defense situation.
That's actually a very good point. I like that. I'm busy with Ridwan at the moment with a two-part series video where we are talking about introducing your family, including kids, to firearms and this whole mindset that goes along with it. And you know, these are the kind of things that we're talking about. And one of the problem areas that we've been highlighting is where one partner is into this, you know, he or she wants to learn how to defend themselves better. They do courses, you know, their mindset is more of a survival type of mindset, and they think about these things different, and the partner, for whatever reason, is sort of kicking against it. How do you introduce them? And I think when you start this journey as a couple, then all of that falls away and you start operating as a team in any case, because you learn how to do it on the range.
No, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, you start to learn, what's my job? You know, what do I need to do as a woman? What, you know, if something happens, goes bump in the night, what is my job, as opposed to just hiding in a cupboard, you know? And that, it's a big thing. And your mindset starts to change, that you're not just a victim, you're somebody that can help. You're somebody that can do something.
Yeah, you're proactive.
So you're not just dependent as a woman. It's a big thing. You're not just dependent on a man. You're also capable of helping in a situation. And I think that helps you grow as a human.
Exactly. You become a very capable surprise package.
Definitely.
Definitely. I like that. On the flip side of that, what kind of conflicts or challenges can come up when training as a couple, especially if you're looking at high stress environments or competitive environments?
Well, Riaan, a lot of times partners fall under the performance pressure kind of situation, where they expect, or they're under pressure from the other partner because they're being watched. So they get anxiety, they get performance anxiety, they get stressed out, because that will hinder their performance.
Claire, can you add to that?
I think there's a lot of conflicts and challenges that are gonna come up. You know, if your communication is not on point, there's always somebody who's going to take the lead, and then the other person feels, okay, I don't know what to do, and then it starts to like spiral, because then I look bad and my partner sees me as incapable, you know. So, or you have a situation where, say now he's the expert and he wants to teach, and we see it a lot on the range. He wants to be in charge and he wants to take control, and then the female kind of feels she's being overridden and like downplayed, if that makes sense, and not given a space. So, you know, there's a lot of conflicts that can start to happen, and yeah, we see it a lot on the range. That we actually try and split couples. I mean, I think we can talk about that a bit more later, but yeah, I think what Gerard said, the fear of not being good enough and not living up to the standard that you think that your partner has of you or for you, can be a very difficult thing to overcome.
Yeah, it's a big mental impact that hinders your learning capability and how you perform.
Can this become a whole new form of couples counseling? Get your SHIT sorted out.
Yeah. We do sort of give some couples counseling on the range, on the lowdown when we see some friction.
Well, now that you mentioned that, let's get to that. I want to address that. You guys at work as instructors. on the range Saturday after Saturday, weekend after weekend. How do you manage that dynamic when couples train under you? Are there common patterns or pitfalls that you've observed so far along your journey?
Yeah, definitely. And 9 out of 10 times, because of the environment we're in, it's normally the man that knows what he's doing.
Thinks he knows what
or
he's doing.
thinks that he knows what he's doing. And then he tends to try and take control. So, you know, he stands next to her and he's interfering all the time. It does happen sometimes, I'm not saying all the time, that the female knows what she's doing and she takes control. But one partner then wants to teach and they want to be in charge and they want to help and like almost like show off because they know they're
better.
in their space now and they know better.
Yeah.
So we see that a lot where it's very difficult. We try and talk to one of them and the other partner's constantly interfering or telling them what to do.
And that makes it difficult on us because now the partner wants to be the instructor.
Yeah. So like I mentioned, like I mentioned, is we actually tend to, if we get a couple on the range, our protocol is to split them, not on different ranges, but at least not on the line together, so they don't stand next to each other.
Okay.
Yeah, especially when we teach the core fundamentals, the basics, how to start knowing your firearm, to get the fundamentals under the knee, because you need to focus, you need to concentrate on what you're doing and what the instructor is trying to teach you, rather than your partner continuously to interfere and want to do things for you. It just becomes quite difficult.
Yeah. And then obviously as the course progresses, we can then let them start, you know, once they're on the same sort of level, we can let them train together. And then they can start working on team dynamics or couple dynamics, if you want to call it that. And that can then get taken home and, you know, put into planning and their own personal lives.
Yeah, especially if you look at like CQB and vehicle modules, where are you most of the time? Is at home. So that's where you and your partner will be, or driving together in a vehicle. How do you operate in and around a vehicle? So then after the fundamentals are sorted, then we work into the team dynamics.
Okay, so you sort of you take baby steps toward that until you're certain that this couple are able to work together. Do you think it's that old ego thing again, Claire?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, and like I said, it's not at all a sexist thing at all. It can come from the female. It's the person who feels that they know more that will take control. And you know, like I say, because it's the firearm industry, it generally is the man will take control and say, oh, well, you know, he'll want to show off and say, do this, do that. So absolutely. And ego then comes into play from the female side because she feels like she's not good enough and she doesn't want to be told what to do by her husband and be pushed around, and you know, if that makes sense. So then she gets a bit of a verhouding. So yeah, I mean, and it's not every couple. It really is not.
No, sure, of course.
You know,
I also think it can be problematic if there are unresolved issues. And suddenly you're working under some pressure on the range, and you know any sort of pressure situation tends to bring that out. In this case, it'll just be on the range, because and that's my next question: communication and trust. Because training, especially if you start putting people under pressure, can expose how people handle pressure, and it exposes any form of lack of communication in that respect. How has training together affected your ability to communicate and trust each other on the range and off the range?
Well, Rian, communication in general is one of the biggest pitfalls of couples, like I said, in general. And what we've learned and what we've seen personally is working together, training together, you get to know the other person's, especially non-verbal communication, a lot better. You know, the body language. You pick up on it faster. You know what that person wants almost before, you know, she said anything. You can act on it. And with that, training together and working together, knowing the other person's abilities and capabilities, you form more of a trust that you know that person will do what he or she has to do when the pressure is on. Because as we've seen on the range time and again, when pressure is on, that's when the cracks happen. That's when you see the weak spots. That's when, especially communication, breaks down completely because people freeze and they don't know what to do.
Yeah, and I think knowing that your partner is capable of doing certain things on the range, and even, you know, off range, we do our SEER module. That's our outdoor module, our last module. We've been instructors on that for many years together, and any challenge that sort of comes our way, we've had to handle together as instructors, which has then taught us that we can handle stuff that comes our way in real life, you know. So we learn how to speak under I know that if I maybe raise my voice a little bit too much, he will get maybe too upset, or so I learn to speak to him, he learns to speak to me. And that can come home, you know, because in a high stress situation on the range, it helps us to communicate at home in any sort of high stress or you know, low stress silly conflict that we have. And then the trust side of things,
of course, yes. How do you draw that line between being training partners and being partners, life partners, a couple at home? Especially when there's, you know, instruction happening, because you guys are learning and training as instructors all the time as well. And obviously, you know, you still learn with every single course that you present. There's always something that you're always adding to your skill, even if it's just a communication skill with people. So, or if there's critique going on, if one of you says to the other one, you know, you didn't do that bull drill under 2 seconds today. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. It is, I know a lot of couples and families find it difficult to split business and personal lives. You see that a lot outside in the business world. On our side, we have said and realized that once you go to range, once you do instructing, you focus on the goal. Business is business. You have to keep it that way, because once personal life and let's call it business or instructing starts interfering with each other, then your effectiveness sort of drops. So on the range, when we go and do our thing, we know now we're in work mode. What is the goal for today? And that's what we focus on. Personal issues aside, personal stuff aside, we get to what we want to do. And then afterwards, that switches off and we're back to personal life.
Yeah, it's almost like we have a bit of a, if we want to put it like a pause button, you know, if there's any conflict going on or anything going on in our relationship that we're going through, the second we drive onto that range, there's like a switch that goes off. We're now in business mode, and you know, we're there as partners, but we're also there individually, and we have to perform and we have to give students what they came there for. So, you know, we kind of leave our personal issues at home, and and critique as well. You know, I take me personally, I see him at a senior level to me. So when he critiques something, I take it as a positive thing, you know, it's something that I can learn from. And he's done the same with me. You know, every time I give him any critique, he sees it as advice, not so much, you know, you don't think I'm good enough.
It's positive criticism. You can grow with it.
Which is what we expect, you know, to be able to give our students.
That is a very important point right there. The way you do that criticism. Because, you know, you can criticize somebody in a way that makes it come across as being brash and basically nasty, and you're trying to put them down, which is a negative thing. And inevitably, your partner in this case will react negatively to that because he or she will perceive it as such. So the way you do it counts as much as actually doing it.
For sure. Yeah.
For me, I feel there's a lot of lessons in this. And I trust that anybody watching this video or listening to it on Quick Shots on the podcast and Spotify will listen to what Gerard and Claire are saying and think to yourself, There is something in this. Let me introduce my partner to this video, because I think in 2025 in South Africa, it is to your advantage if both of you get yourselves out on a range or just any training course, whether it's like a boxing, boxing or Muay Thai or whatever, Jiu-Jitsu on the shooting range as a couple. I think it's absolutely crucial. And quite frankly, if you get to love it, what a great way to spend time together. Isn't that so?
It's definitely more time you get to spend together rather than just the one partner going off and do training. And
Yes.
like you mentioned, any type of, say, self-defense training, you get to know your partner on a different level. You get to know your partner on a almost deeper level.
And it builds respect. I mean, there's a high respect that comes towards each other from doing stuff like that together. You know, to know that you've both learned something, you've learned a skill, you've grown together as a couple and not individual, and to be able to have something to talk about. That's a big thing. You know, you can come home and you can discuss guns or, like you say, Muay Thai or whatever, and you've got this common thing that you're doing together. You know, and again, yes, to be able to go to the range and do stuff together, fantastic. But if you're in a situation that maybe he has to go this Saturday, I go next Saturday, at least you can come home and you've got this common thing and this common hobby that you can discuss. And
the other person will understand what you're actually trying to tell them.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly, because you're on the same page.
For sure.
I only see advantages, but have you seen examples where training has strengthened other relationships or maybe even revealed cracks? I'm going to assume those cracks were there already. It just needed a little budge. We don't have to mention names.
Yeah, basically the polyfiller just came off the cracks when the pressure is on.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, the biggest crack, like we mentioned earlier, is the lack of communication. So, you know, if a couple isn't a team, and one is going to assume that the other one is going to do something and then gets upset when the job doesn't get done on the range, that really becomes a big problem. And I think it's like that, like you said, jiu-jitsu. I know with my previous partner, I could not do jiu-jitsu with him. Then we would turn into full-on DEFCON 5, wanting to kill each other. So it's not, you know, that kind of one-on-one sport is not maybe for every couple. You know, then your ego really gets in the way.
Ego takes over.
Yeah. So I've seen a lot of couples that go to jiu-jitsu together, but they cannot roll together because then they want to kill.
It becomes very personal.
And that shows cracks, you know, because absolutely.
Yeah.
So it will highlight.
Look, I mean, I suppose it can also be, it can be your personality types as well. It's probably, and let me just reiterate that we are not counselors, okay? We are speculating and giving our own opinions, but I don't know, it might not always be cracks. It can just be like vastly different personalities, because opposites also attract you, especially when it gets that close with like jiu-jitsu.
That's up close and personal.
Certainly, yes. So as a final, say again.
Sorry, Rian.
No,
I said it becomes a strength, like who's more powerful, who's stronger, you know, and that's if it's the wrong personalities on the range or in any situation that can really cause issues. But then again, like we said, it can also fix them.
Yeah, there's also the flip side that we've heard, the positive stories where couples come back and said, listen, what you've taught us has changed things in our household dramatically. Especially on the self-defense side and protective side, where they went home and they went through their house and the whole setup and their planning and changed it, because now they understand each other. Now they've trained together. Now they know how to make an action plan, how to set it in action. So there's that flip side where we've had some awesome feedback from couples that's really grateful for what we've taught them regarding, well, communication and skills.
Yeah, and suddenly you're working together as a team.
Exactly.
Which I think that and the communication is probably the two big problem areas pretty much everywhere. And in this, I speak from experience myself. Communication, when that goes, everything else goes. So if you can reignite that specific spark on a shooting range and take it home with you, I think that's absolutely wonderful.
For sure.
Definitely.
You
For
should,
sure. Yeah.
you should add that to your CVs. We fix relationships. As a final takeaway, what advice would you give couples who are maybe thinking of attending firearms training, tactical training together, to make it a positive and a productive experience rather than some potential conflict in waiting?
Well, the first step, I would say, Riaan, is to actually just book the course. Don't overthink it. Book a course together and go. But in that, also realize each of you is an individual personalities, different backgrounds, and you need to respect that in the way that how fast the other one will learn. If you come from, say, a self-defense or gun background, you will learn a lot faster than a partner that has come from no violence, no guns, no hunting. So it will take a bit longer. It's going to happen. That's why we have, say, for instance, the Valkyrie course where it's only ladies, just to get them to get started without that pressure from a man, which is normally the person with a violent background. Until then, get that under control or under the belt, and then they learn together. And then go forward. Because then we saw that other partner, say the husband, doesn't get as frustrated with his wife because, okay, now she at least knows how to handle the firearm, how to load the firearm. Now they can focus on building as a team.
Yeah, good point.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I think a very important thing to remember is that you are both there to learn. So whoever's got the more experience, whoever knows more, should just keep quiet and let the instructor teach the class. Don't try and teach your partner at the same time. So don't try and take over. So that's my advice: is you are both there as individuals, and you both
there to learn.
You're there to learn. So take the instruction and let your partner take the instruction instead of trying to be the teacher on the range. Leave that to the instructor.
I like that.
Then one big thing, we've touched on it a bit earlier, is when you get critique, don't take it personally. Learn from it.
Yeah.
Take it as positive criticism, as building blocks that you can learn from, rather than think, no, I'm being attacked personally. If the instructor focuses on you and say, you did that or don't do that, don't now think he isolates you or just focus on you. It's just something you saw. Learn from it and move on.
Yeah.
Yes, that's vital. That's the mindset that you should approach any training with to begin with.
Definitely, because we've seen some students that you can see it in their eyes and the attitude. They think now you've attacked them personally. They shut off, and the rest of the class, nothing happens. They don't take anything in. There's no effort, and that's done and dusted. So it's a waste of a class for that person. So don't take it personally. Just listen to what he says or she says. Learn from it.
Because I mean that's such a pity, and again that's only ego. That's only ego. That's flipping it. That's nothing else. It's ego, and now it costs you money that you spent unnecessarily. You could have taken your partner out for a nice restaurant meal for that instead, and got something more out of it than going to this course and shutting yourself off and learning absolutely nothing. I mean that's pointless. So it's the mindset. If you enter yourself for any such training course, you need to do it from the outset with a mindset of I'm going there to learn. Otherwise, seriously, just rather don't. But do. Right, that's it for me. For the viewers and the listeners out there, that was Gerard and Claire coming at you fast and hard, sharing some of their crucial experience as not only senior instructors on a firing range, but also a couple. I trust that there are some good lessons in there for everybody. If you like the video, as always, press the like button. Subscribe to the channel and smash that bell icon so that you can get notifications of all our future videos coming out. And also remember, this video will also be going out on the podcast on Spotify called Quick Shots. Check it out there, and check it out on the YouTube channel called Fortis Wits. Take a couple for that, but we'll get there. If you need any information about the loan operator training courses as a couple, link in the description below. Click on it, check it out, and we look forward to seeing the both of you on a shooting match one of these days. Claire, Gerard, thank you so much. Enjoy your evening.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Thank you. Have a lekker one. See you guys on the range.